Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 6 of my best tips for tomorrow's racing. Now before we get stuck into that, I've just got a couple of announcements I want to make. First of all, if you haven't done so already, make sure you check out the latest In the Saddle podcast, where myself, Mark Horosky, and also as well former jockey Paul Callahan go through our Tote 10 to follow teams. We've got it covered on iTunes, Spotify or SoundCloud, so if you haven't listened to it already, make sure you just hit one of the links in the description box below. Also as well, before we get into those tips, I quickly want to recap on how our selections performed today. In the end, it was a good day for us here on the YouTube channel. We'd had quite a couple of days, but we were back with a winner today, as Impressive Lady was a really nice winner for us. She was my long shot of the day at Exeter. We advertised her last night 12 to 1, drifted out to 14 to 1 in the end, final SP, so that was a really nice winner to have there. And some of you might have been able to get 20 to 1. I saw she was a bit of a drifter earlier on in the day, but hey ho, you know, it's still a nice winner, and that's exactly what we needed, and it was a really nice performance in the end. I wasn't really confident about the first two in the market, and it proved to be that way. You know, the Nichols and Tizard runners ran below par, I think, but this horse, like I said, was really eye-catching at Plumpton last time out, and she really did build on that, and I think the step up and trip really helped her as well. So yeah, that was a really nice winner for us. Elsewhere, we were able to claw back a little bit of place money with St. Bart's, who really, in my opinion, I think should have won today. All of the gin joints was the winner in that race for Colin Tizard, but if you go back and watch a race replay, if you haven't seen it, our selection, St. Bart's, was travelling really well, and he kind of got taken out nearly at one point. It was a bit of a mess with the Fergal Bryan runner. He was really badly interfered with 2 or 3 fences left to go, and that really did pay to his chance in the end, because if you actually go back and watch the race, he was staying on really strongly. In the end, he was coming with a late run, and in the end, all of the gin joints had just got first run on him, and I'm sure if he'd got a clearer passage, he would have won that, and he would have probably won it with quite some authority. So St. Bart's, it was a really nice performance from him today, and like I said, we were able to claim the place money there, 15 to 2 each way, and yeah, it wasn't a bad result for us, and he's definitely a horse I would want you to put in your tracker. I think he's going to be one you want to keep on side with later this season. So that was St. Bart's. Elsewhere, yeah, the other selections were disappointing. Van Gogh de Vage, yeah, he ran respectably, but in the end, things just didn't pan out for him. He did bump into an improver of Christian Williams, who was really well gambled actually before the off. But Van Gogh de Vage, he travelled really sweetly at one point, coming into the home turn, and I thought he was going to go and win his race. But he's a horse that needs quite a few things just to fall in his lap, and it just didn't go his way today. He ran his race, but in the end, it just wasn't to be. So that was slightly disappointing there. Also, as well, we had a selection in the first race at Exeter today with a horse called Hawkswell. Ran well for a long way, but again, just bumped into a couple better in the day, finished in 4th. And then the one that I would probably be critical the most of today was actually our other extra tip, which actually was our only tip at Banger on D, and that was Yeltari for Charlie Deutsch and Venetia Williams. Now, I thought it was a bit of a strange ride, because if you go back and look at this horse's form throughout his career, he's always been up there making the run-in, and Charlie Deutsch, pretty much from the word go, was holding this horse up out the back, and I was thinking, okay, they're changing the tactics here. What's going on? Maybe it might work for him. But to be fair to him, the horse actually did travel quite well for a long way, and as we got longer into the race, I thought he was going to at least have a chance of making the frame. He was travelling quite smoothly, and yeah, in the end, he just didn't seem to pick up, or he just didn't go on. But Charlie Deutsch really wasn't throwing his toys out the pram, you know. He wasn't really asking him for much of an effort, and I would just like to question that ride, really. I'm not normally one to criticise jockeys, but I'd like to hear the thoughts of Charlie Deutsch. I'm not saying it was a non-trier, but something didn't quite seem right to me with Yeltari. It was a bit of a quiet ride, really, and he didn't really throw the kitchen sink at it at all, you know. So yeah, a bit of a peculiar one. Hold up tactics, and he really wasn't never asked a question, in my opinion, to go and try and at least close on the leaders, you know, because he was in a group of about 6 or 7 at one point that were breaking away from the rest of the field, and he was still hanging on to them, and he was never really asked for an effort. So unless there was something wrong with the horse or something comes to light, I think it was a bit of a peculiar ride there. So yeah, watch out for Yeltari next time. It Might have just been that they were trying to ride a prep run and just get the handicap mark down and take advantage next time out. But yeah, who knows? It was a bit of a questionable ride in my opinion. But yeah, that was the only real disappointment I had today. Yes, I know our other selections didn't win, or they didn't get us any profit, but if I have to question one that I thought was a bit suspicious today, Yeltari, in my opinion, wasn't given every chance by Charlie Deutsch. So yeah, that's my thoughts and feelings and how we did on today's selection. So let's go into tomorrow's race and what you all want to find out about. 6 tips for tomorrow, and we're going to be starting tomorrow with an extra tip which runs at Sedgefield. Now these are all going to be win bets tomorrow, no each ways. They're all going to have to get their head in front come the line for us to have any profit. Now we're going to start tomorrow in the 12:20 at Sedgefield with an old boy here called Oak Vintage, that if you've been following me for the last couple of years, you know actually he's done us some good favours in the past. Remember putting him up here at Sedgefield when he used to be trained by Anne Hamilton. But this horse now is trained by Phil Kirby, and Ross Chapman is booked for the ride tomorrow. Now Phil Kirby's stable often keep an eye out for them, and when they normally amongst the winners, they're normally a horse or a yard, I should say, that just keep churning and keep grinding them out. And after a quiet October, in the last week or two, there looks like there's a sense that they're turning things around. And in the last few days in particular, they've had quite a few winners. I know that they had a cross the card double yesterday at Lingfield, and also as well they had a winner at Newcastle. I think they had a couple of winners at Carlisle as well. So the form of the yard is starting to turn now, and I think they're a yard you want to be keeping on side. And I think this Oak Vintage has got a really good chance tomorrow. Now he's really well handicapped now. He's down to a mark of 103. He was running off marks in the 120s at one point when he was winning at the course, and he's got a great love affair with Sedgefield as well. He's won at the track here 4 times, including 1 victory over the course and distance. Now, over the last year or two, you could argue, or it's fair to say that he has regressed a little bit, but in his last couple of runs, he has been showing some ability. If you go back to his penultimate start, he was really unlucky, probably not to win that day, which actually came here at the track, and that was in a warmer race in my opinion. And if you actually look at the form as a whole of the race, there was quite a few last time out winners in that race, so I think it was quite a hot contest. And then our horse Oak Vintage went to Kelso last time out, and I think you can put line through that run. That was in a class 4 race. This is going to be a class 5 tomorrow, and I think he just found it a little bit too difficult for him. And also as well, Kelso is a track that he's never really particularly warmed to. He's had a couple of disappointing runs there in the past. So with the yard in form now, going back to a track he loves, being on an attractive mark, down in class, I just thought there was a lot to like about this horse, and I think 7-1 tomorrow is a fair value bet, and I think there will be some money around for him tomorrow. I think he will go off a shorter price. So Oak Vintage going to be an extra tip to kick things off, and hopefully we can get off to a flying start there. We then go with my next best tip, which runs in the 2:15 at Ludlow with a horse called Checkitout for Sam Twiston-Davis and Nigel Twiston-Davis. In fact, it's their only runner tomorrow, so that's something of note if you like that kind of angle into the racing. But looking at this horse as a whole, I think he's got quite a good chance in this race tomorrow. Now, last time we saw him, he finished in 5th place in the novices handicap chase at Uttoxeter, and I think looking back at that race now, it was actually quite a nice contest. You had Morning Vicar in there for Nicky Henderson, who ran well for a long way, finished in 2nd place. He won at Newbury last week in a decent handicap. You also as well had the likes of Camelot come out and win. You had Killer Clown as well, who was unlucky in that race, ran a good race at Exeter last week, and a couple of others that have not run too badly. So it was quite a nice race in my opinion, and our horse that day was running off a mark of 125. He's been dropped £2 for that, and he finished in 5th place in the end. Now, if you go back and watch the replay, he was really badly outpaced at one point, and if you look at the race, you're thinking he's probably going to finish in 8th or 9th place, but he kind of gained a second wind and was staying on quite strongly again, and he ran well, I think, in the end to finish in 5th place. Now, that race was over 2 miles and 6. He's going up a couple of extra furlongs tomorrow, which I think will suit. And also as well, it's going to be his second run after a wind up. Now, one of the things that some people like, or they say it works for them, is that horses, now that we know that they've had a wind up, when they're on their second start, it's normally the time to catch them, and I think this horse will definitely benefit from that wind up, and we'll see the full effect of it tomorrow. Forget forget what he did over hurdles. He's always been a chaser in the making if you look at his style and his approach to racing. Also as well, Nigel Twiston Davis's team, their horses again, like I was saying about Phil Kirby's, is a yard I think just starting to pick up now. After a couple of quiet weeks recently, they've started to pick up a little bit form. They had a double today at Banger and D, and I think they're going to have some good chances to the weekend at Cheltenham. So a yard I think you want to be keeping on side at the moment, and I think this horse can give him a winner at Ludlow tomorrow. So check it out. Going to be my next best. You can currently get the horse at 5-2 at the current time of recording, which is just before 7:15, and I think this horse has got an outstanding chance tomorrow. We then go to Taunton to the Somerset course there in the or we don't actually go to Taunton, have to rewind quickly. We then go to Clonmel for our nap of the day, which runs in the 2:25. Now this is the second feature on the race, as it were. Obviously the feature tomorrow is the Clonmel Oil Chase, and this is going to be my only selection actually at Clonmel tomorrow, but this is going to be in the mare's listed chase, and I think Shattered Love is the one you've all got to beat, or they've all got to beat here. And like I said, it's going to be my nap tomorrow, currently available at 2-1 for Mark Walsh, an interesting jockey booking, riding for Gordon Elliott. Now Shattered Love won this race last year, even though it was a smaller field last year and a weaker renewal. I still think she's got solid credentials, and I think she'll take a lot of beating in this race tomorrow. Now if we look at Shattered Love as a whole, I think over this trip this is her most effective. She's been tried over further, but in my own personal opinion, I don't think she quite sees out 3 miles that strongly. And even though, yes, she was beat last time, it's still a really credible race. You had the Storyteller in there as well, 2A per me, Snow Falcon. They all went on to run some good races on their next start, where they all clashed again in the Down Royal Champion Chaser Grade 1, and the Storyteller went on to win that. So that looks a fair bit of form there, and taking on her own sex again, I think that's definitely going to suit her. There's not too many dangers in here in my opinion. Okay, you got Cabaret Queen and you got Magical Light, who on their day are very classy mares, but I just think Shattered Love over this trip, and also as well on the testing ground, is going to be the standard bearer here, and I think at 2-1 still has a bit of value in that price. And like I said, she won over the coursing distance last year. I think this is the right trip. You also as well, she's a Grade 1 winner. You might remember she actually won what is now the Mars Chase at the Cheltenham Festival back in 2018, and I think she's got a really solid chance here tomorrow. Also as well, she came on from her reappearance run last year, so that's another similar trend, like I said, coming into this race. So yeah, a lot of things just to like about Shattered Love tomorrow, and that's why she's going to be my nap in the 2:25 at Clonmel. We then go to the 2:40 at Taunton with my long shot of the day, which runs there at the Somerset track with a horse called Another Stowaway for Bryan, Carver, claiming 5, and he's riding for Tom George tomorrow. Now Tom George's horses have been running not too badly of late. They've been amongst the winners, and Bryan Carver, yes, he hasn't had a winner for a couple of weeks, but he's still a class conditional rider, and he's getting a lot of good chances at the moment, the likes of Paul Nicholls and that, and he's definitely worth his £5 claim. Now looking at this horse, Another Stowaway, yes, you're going to have to forgive his run last time out when he was pulled up in a handicap hurdle at Cheltenham. However, he's definitely a better chaser in my opinion, and off a mark of 130, I think he's quite well handicapped. Now, in my opinion, if you look back at his career history, he's a horse that's always needed a run, so I'm expecting him to strip fitter for that reappearance run last time out. And if you look at his form last season, he definitely needed it last year at Ludlow, and then he came on for that run, and he ran his best performance of the season to finish second behind a nice horse of Nicky Henderson's called Destraval, something like that, in the Munir and Isaac Sway colours. So it was a nice performance that day, and I think he'll come on, like I said, for his run at Cheltenham last time. And the ground's going to be in his favour as well. Even though there is some rain around possibly this evening at Taunton, it shouldn't get in it too much, and I think it'll still be riding good tomorrow. So that'll be another tick in the box. He likes to go this way around as well, right-handed. Just think there's a lot to like about his chances tomorrow. Also as well, I don't think it's a particularly strong race, and I think at 10-1 tomorrow, it's quite a big price. And with the yard in good form, on a workable mark, I just think this horse will be there or thereabouts come the end of the race tomorrow, and that's why he is going to be my long shot of the day. We then go back to Ludlow for an amateur race here in the 3:25, but I thought Lygon Rock was head and shoulders above all the other rivals tomorrow, and this is going to be one of my extra tips. You can currently back this horse at 4-1, win only bet for Alice Stevens, claiming 7, riding for Henry Daly. Now Henry Daly's horses have been going not too badly. He's been amongst the winners of late, and this horse Lygon Rock is really, if you go back through some of his old form, a class above. He showed that he retained ability on his last start by finishing in a nice race at Warwick to finish in second place. But if you go back through some of his form, he ran at Ascot when he finished third in a really decent handicap there, off a mark of 124, and also as well he raced off a similar mark when he finished second behind future Stairs hurdle champion Paisley Park when he really took off from that season. So he got a lot of strong form from a couple of seasons ago, and down to a mark of 119, that's definitely very workable for him, and he looks well treated off it. And with Alice Stevens, yes, she's an amateur, but claiming that handy £7 off the horse's back, in essence, he's going to be running off a mark of 112, so there's lots to like about his chances tomorrow. Also as well, this horse is a course and distance winner. There's just a lot of ticks in the boxes for this horse, and I think he'll go off favourite tomorrow, and I think he's definitely the one they've all got to beat, and he brings a touch of class to this amateur race tomorrow. So for me, that's why he's going to be one of the extra tips of the day. We then end with our final selection in the final race at Taunton tomorrow in the 4:15 with a horse called Outonpatrol for Alexander Thorne, claiming 5, riding for Alan King. Now, like a few of the other stables we've mentioned, Alan King's stable have been in good form. Obviously had a cracking weekend, and he can continue his form today with a really nice winner at Bangor and D to win, and Duchess of Westminster Class 2 chase. So that was definitely a nice performance there by that horse today. But yeah, again, to this horse's chances, this mare's been maintaining her form. She was a winner at Warwick 2 starts ago, and then she ran a respectable race to finish third at Lingfield, and the form of that race hasn't worked out too badly. The Skelton horse that won that day, in my opinion, was ahead of that mark, and ran a fair race last time to finish in the frame at Lingfield yesterday. I think it might have finished in third place in the end, but still ran a really good race, and that was in a Class 3 handicap. Now, this horse Outonpatrol, in my opinion, the one that obviously she's got to beat is the Kim Bailey horse, but I do think she's beatable, and our selection is going to be slightly better off at the weights tomorrow of Alexander Thorne's £5, and I think the race could set up quite nicely for our selection. We'll like a pace to aim at, and that's definitely probably going to be set by the Kim Bailey runner. And this horse is currently 6-1 in the place, so I just think if you look at the race as a whole, I think 6-1 for Outonpatrol is very good value and should be up there vying for favouritism, in my opinion. Her form is as good as any, and I know that the Kim Bailey horse did win a Class 3 handicap, but in my opinion the form isn't worth that much, and it was actually quite a weak race for the grade. I know our selection, or one of the horses that ran in that race, was our next best selection yesterday, who did finish in second at Hereford, but again he was running in a really weak race. So yeah, I don't really rate the Kim Bailey horse in this race tomorrow. Some of you might disagree with me, but for me, Outonpatrol, I still think might have a little bit more improvement to come, and could be a classier mare than some of her rivals tomorrow, and represents good value there at 6-1. So they're the 6 best tips for tomorrow. Quickly just go through them then. In the 12:20 at Sedgefield, we go with Oak Vintage at 7-1, win only bet for Phil Kirby. We then go to the next best of the day, which runs in the 2:15 at Ludlow with a horse called Checkitout for Sam Twiston-Davis and Nigel Twiston-Davis, 5-2, win only bet. We then pop over the RC for the Nap in the mare's listed chase there, Shattered Love, 2-1, win only for Gordon Elliott. The Longshot of the day runs in the 2:40, another Stowaway, 10-1, win only bet. We then go back to Ludlow for an extra tip with Lygon Rock at 4-1, win only bet. And then the last tip of the day runs in the 4:15 at Taunton with a horse called Outonpatrol for Alan King, and that is a 6-1, win only bet. So they're the 6 tips for tomorrow's racing. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also as well, if you're liking these videos, please remember to hit the thumbs up button as well. Really appreciate all the support you give me. Also as well, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the you follow me on Twitter, where my handle is @LuckyLoads15. It's been a really long day today, and if you want to check out my website, my website address is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please game responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.